Hi, everyone. This is Mr. Marlin, and I am here to talk to you about financial aid and scholarships. Now, there's a lot of information that I need to go over, so I'm going to go through everything rather quickly. However, if you have any questions after this, feel free to contact Miss Meeks or myself. So, let's jump into it. Types of financial aid. There's four basic types of financial aid. There's loans, work study, grants, and scholarships. The most common type of financial aid are student loans, and those are either borrowed from the government or private lenders, and they must be paid back with interest. Now, there's two different types of student loans. There's subsidized and unsubsidized. Subsidized means that while you are in college, you are not making any sort of interest payments while you're in college. Okay. Unsubsidized means that every month you are paying student loan interest to wherever you're borrowing money from every single month throughout college. Okay. Work study money, that is money that is funded through the government that you have to earn while you're in college through a part-time job on or off campus. Now, more important to know about work study is that money comes to you as a check every single month based on how much you've worked. And then it is your responsibility to use the work study money to pay off your tuition. Some students just think that's fun money they get to go use on other things, but that money is made to pay for your tuition and other college bills. Then there are grants. Grants are free money usually awarded based on need, either through the federal government or through particular colleges. So that could be the Pell Grant or something like that. That money does not need to be repaid. Okay, and then there is scholarships, and scholarships are free money awarded for special talents, grades, cultural or religious backgrounds. Once again, that money does not need to be repaid either. So let's jump into talking about the FAFSA. So the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. And that is required to be completed if you want to receive any sort of federal student loans, grants, or work study. And how you do that is you go ahead and you go to FAFSA.gov to complete your free application. Now, it's really important that you're going to FAFSA.gov, not .com or any other place like that, because if you go to a different website, then you might be charged $50, $100 or more to complete the free FAFSA. Okay, so you're going to go to FAFSA.gov, and I have a link right here in that presentation. Okay, students and parents in the FAFSA are required to enter their financial and tax information. At the end of the application, students are going to enter in what schools they want their financial aid information to be shared with. And that's how schools then determine your financial aid package. So generally, the FAFSA takes a few hours to complete. It is tedious and it can be frustrating at times, but it's a really important thing to do. Normally, we have a FAFSA night where students and their families can come and get assistance completing the FAFSA. However, due to COVID, we're not going to be able to offer that, unfortunately, this year. So what we did later, we'll have an additional resources tab, and that's going to have an in-depth breakdown of the FAFSA. There's going to be a line-by-line video and a PDF that you can look through if you have specific FAFSA questions, okay? And colleges are also available to help you if you have specific financial aid and FAFSA questions as well, if you contact their financial aid department. So when you sit down and do the FAFSA, you want to make sure you have all of this information that I have on the screen: tax returns, social security number, W-2s, current bank statements, records of untaxed income from prior year, current business and farm records. Okay, you need all of this information. For students, need their own tax return information if they filed as well. So once you have all of that information, you can sit down at the computer, and students and their parents and guardians must create a FAFSA, an FSA ID. And what that basically is your username and password to electronically sign the FAFSA. So students and their parents and guardians need their own FSA ID. Okay. Now it's very important that you write down this information, you put it in a secure place because you get one FSA ID, period. You can't create another one because it's linked to your social security number. So it's really important that you write that information down because retrieving your FSA ID is long and tedious. Okay. Um, in there, you're going to have to enter an email. Make sure that that is an email that you check frequently, and make sure that is not a school email, because this FSA ID will follow you throughout college and your high school email won't. That'll be deactivated rather quickly after you're done with school. So that's very important to know. Okay, after you spend a few hours completing the FAFSA, at the very end, you'll get something called a SAR. It's a student aid report, and that kind of just gives you a summary of what is listed on the FSA on the FAFSA. And then it'll also give you something called an EFC, which is your expected family contribution. Now, that EFC helps colleges calculate your financial aid award with their school. Now, it doesn't matter if you're going to a 2-year school, a 4-year school, public, private, doesn't matter. Your EFC is going to be the same no matter where you go. Okay. Now, a lot of times that EFC will say that your expected family contribution, that can be a large number. Now, that's important to know that's not realistic for what families should actually be contributing to their son or daughter's education. Okay, that's just a number that is calculated that helps colleges figure out your financial aid award. So if you get a large EFC when you complete the FAFSA, you're probably going to think, there's no way I can actually afford to help that much with my child's education. Know that that's not necessarily realistic. Okay. So then, based on your EFC, and there, college will generate a financial aid package. You only receive that usually in February or March through a student's email. Okay. So some things to think about when you're looking at student loans. Student loans are meant to help people with financial limitations to attend college. They're not meant to pay for vehicles, to go on trips, or anything like that. So when you're looking at how much student loans you should take out over the course of 2 or 4 years, however long you're going to school for, the rule of thumb is your student loan debt should not exceed the amount of your starting salary after you graduate college. So let's say you're looking at a job that's going to make $50,000 a year starting. That means you should try not to exceed $50,000 of student loan debt during your entire course of your college education. Okay. Now I know there's jobs like education and stuff like that's not necessarily possible. However, the more student loan debt you get, the more crippling that can be for your future. So it's really important that you take out as little student loans as possible to help you way down the line. I'll show you an example here in a second. After you get done going to college, however long you go, generally you'll have a 6-month deferment period before you have to start repaying your loans, and that is just a grace period to help you find a job, place to live, and etc. Okay, but after that 6 months, you're going to start getting your student loan bill. Okay. Now, it's going to be crucial that you make your payments on time because that will affect your credit score. And if you're a young student, you're not going to have a whole lot of credit. And if you don't make those payments on time, that's going to affect your credit score long term. So it's really important that you stay on top of your student loans. So let's give an example of what student loans will look like. Okay, let's say you take out $40,000 over the course of 4 years. Okay, and you're going to say, it's going to take me about 15 years to repay back your loan. Okay, you are blessed right now that the interest rate for the student loans right now is 2.75. That is a record low. That's way less than I paid when I was going to college. So if you have a 2.75 interest rate, okay, on your $40,000 loan, okay, that means if you're going to make the same payment from now through the next 15 years, okay, you'd start off making a $271.45 payment every single month. Okay, over the course of the 15 years, you're going to end up paying $8,860 and change. So out of that $40,000 loan that you took out, you're going to end up paying back $48,000, close to $49,000 worth of student loans. So that's why it's important to take out as little student loans as possible, because even with a really small interest rate, you're paying a lot of money in interest. All right, now let's talk about scholarships. So scholarships, when we're looking at scholarships, you want to look at prioritizing what you're looking at. Okay, so I recommend you look at local scholarships. That'd be here in the Waseca area. That'd be with a parent or guardian job or something like that. If the employer, if they offer any sort of scholarships, then you look at the college specific scholarships that you're going to go to. So if you're going to go to the University of Minnesota, you're going to look at the University of Minnesota's website for colleges that they are scholarships they are offering through their college, and you're going to apply for those. Okay. After that, you look at state scholarships and then national ones. Okay, that's going to give you the most bang for your buck when you're applying for scholarships. We do have a local scholarship packet that comes out in February that is extensive and it offers a whole lot of money. So in February, make sure you're watching your email, you're watching the announcements to make sure you know when that scholarship packet comes out. We also post scholarship links for scholarships we're made aware of, as well as websites that you can search on our school website listed here. Okay. Some merit-based scholarships require the ACT or SAT. However, many schools are waiving that due to COVID. So that's just something to think about too. It's nice that they're being accommodating with that, but if you didn't get the ACT or SAT score you want, and your college you're going to go to offers merit-based scholarships, you might want to look at retaking that this year to improve your score to get additional scholarships. I recommend if you can spend 1 hour a week completing scholarships, that's going to be a good pace for you throughout the school year. So you're completing a lot of scholarships and really getting the most money you possibly can. All right, so when you're applying for scholarships, this is a general breakdown of what you need to do. Okay, and you'll see on the right here it says click here for more information. I came up with a 2-page document that breaks down applying for scholarships in really good detail, but this is the short version on the left. The biggest thing, you need to learn what the criteria for the scholarship. Okay, you know exactly what they need, what they're looking for, and learn about who is offering the scholarship. Okay, then you get your thoughts organized. You don't just ever throw a scholarship scholarship stuff together. You make sure that you have it nicely laid out. You know exactly how you're going to say something, so then it sounds really nice and professional. Okay. You're going to make sure you're giving examples of qualifications for why you are the best person to receive the scholarship. Scholarships are very competitive, so you need to make sure you're putting your best foot forward. You need to show that you're passionate about what you want to do. If you can get that to come through, that's what a lot of scholarship donors are looking for. The people who are excited to go into a field, the people who are really going to use the money that they earn in a scholarship for their future profession. Okay, make sure you're putting time and effort into this thing, and so they are really impressed. Like I said, you need to be able to explain why you deserve and need the scholarship. So if there is some sort of financial need at home, why that would help you, why you need that money to be able to attend college and things like that. Okay. Get some backup. That means if you have some letters, recommendations, something like that, that proves about your character, about your excitement for the future, why you'd be successful, that kind of information can often be helpful when you're looking at applying for scholarships. You always want to make sure you double check, if not triple check, your scholarship information. Things like typos, little mistakes can lose a student a scholarship. I've been on many committees, and a student has had an amazing scholarship application. However, they've had a few typos, and I've seen other people in the room throw that person's application away because they figured if you made mistakes, that means you didn't really care enough when you applied. So after you apply for scholarships, if you are awarded that, you want to make sure that you follow up with a thank you note that you appreciate the money they gave. Okay. All right, so now we're looking at financial aid awards. So I talked about the FAFSA, that once you complete the FAFSA, that information is going to be sent to colleges, and they're going to create a financial aid award. Once you receive if you receive any scholarships, you're also going to notify the college about that, their financial aid department, because that could affect your financial aid award a little bit. So that's really important. Like I said before, financial aid awards generally are sent out in February or March. Then colleges will notify their students to accept or decline the financial aid online. Okay. Now, when you get your financial aid award, if you look at it and you realize, I don't think I'm going to be able to pay for college. I don't know how I'm going to make it work. Um, if you contact the college's financial aid department, they will try to work with you as much as they can, especially if you have some sort of recent parent guardian job loss, there's a death, COVID financial aid struggles. They want to help you pursue your dreams and attend their college. So they have sometimes some wiggle room when it comes to financial aid awards. So if you're struggling to be able to figure out how am I going to be able to pay for this college, contact them and see if there's any way that they can make certain adjustments. And financial aid departments are really good at also assisting students with specific FAFSA and financial aid questions. That's what they do all day long. That's what they really enjoy. So please reach out to them with specific questions. All right. So wrapping things up, additional resources. We're going to be adding a lot of resources to our school website and our Schoology page. So make sure you're checking those two places often for additional resources. Then I have many things from Minnesota Goes to College. They have just about financial aid. There's some PDFs on financial aid basics and the FAFSA and the DREAM Act. The DREAM Act is if you're for students who are undocumented students, and that's how they can still receive money to be able to go to college. And then, like I told you earlier, since we're not having a FAFSA night, there's a line-by-line video from the FAFSA that and a PDF that can help you really walk through a lot of the stuff. And then I also included the FAFSA website. You can type in FAFSA.gov or go to studentaid.gov, and you'll be able to apply for the FAFSA that way. If you have any questions, feel free to contact Miss Meeks or myself. She has last names A through L, and I'm last names M through Z.